Cornelius H. Charlton was born in East Gulf, West Virginia on July 24, 1929. He was the eighth of 17 children. Cornelius showed a desire to join the United States Army from a young age. In high school, he begged his parents to allow him to drop out and enlist, wanting to fight in World War II, but his parents refused. When Cornelius graduated from high school in 1946, he remained committed to joining the Army, so his parents signed the papers allowing the 17-year-old to enlist. Cornelius left for basic training in November 1946. After graduating from basic training, Cornelius was assigned to Allied-occupied Germany, where he served out his whole enlistment. Cornelius opted to re-enlist, and his next assignment was with a military engineering battalion at Aberdeen Proving Ground in Aberdeen, Maryland. However, Cornelius wanted to fight, and he wanted to fight in Korea, so he requested a transfer to a frontline unit in South Korea. He was subsequently assigned to C Company, 1st Battalion, 24th Infantry Regiment, part of the 25th Infantry Division. He arrived at C Company in early 1951, and as a sergeant, he was made a squad leader in the 3rd Platoon and quickly impressed his unit's company commander with his natural leadership ability, and soon his squad was considered a model unit. In May 1951, Cornelius was made the platoon sergeant, and his commander recommended him for a battlefield commission. On June 2nd, C Company moved to capture Hill 543 near the village of Chipo-ri. The hill was protected by heavily entrenched Chinese infantry as well as mortars at the top of the hill. During their first attempt to advance up the hill, the company took heavy casualties, and 3rd Platoon leader was mortally wounded. Cornelius took command of the platoon and reorganized it for another attack. Heavy fire eventually forced the company back down the hill, though. 3 times, Cornelius led the platoon up the hill in the face of intense Chinese mortar and infantry fire. In spite of mounting casualties, the platoon made slow progress. Cornelius single-handedly destroyed 2 Chinese positions and killed 6 Chinese soldiers with rifle fire and grenades. During one advance, Cornelius was wounded in the chest, but he refused medical treatment and pushed the company forward. Cornelius continued to lead the attack from the front of the platoon and several times was separated from the unit. Subsequent accounts noted Cornelius continued the advance, holding his chest wound with one hand and an M1 carbine with the other. In one final act of bravery, Cornelius advanced alone to the top of the hill and the location of the Chinese mortars, firing repeatedly on the emplacement there. The Chinese troops wounded Cornelius one final time with a grenade, but he continued firing until the position was destroyed. Cornelius subsequently died from the wounds inflicted by the grenade. However, he is credited with saving much of his platoon, which had been under heavy mortar fire. For his brave actions that day in Korea, Cornelius's parents were presented with his Medal of Honor on March 12, 1952 by Secretary of the Army Frank Pace, and he is buried in Arlington National Cemetery.